What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, man. You already know who it is. And here's a comparison that literally nobody wanted, nobody asked for, but me personally, I wanted to see a comparison between these two, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it whether you guys like it or not. Now, those two specific phones I'm talking about are the Samsung Galaxy Note 10, the newly released, you guys already know it's the Note 10, versus the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. Now, what's super interesting is that before the Note 9 and the Note 8, there was the Note 7, and you guys already know what happened to that. That was a huge mishap. The batteries exploded and all that. So Samsung actually stopped selling that one for a while and they started selling the Note 5 again. And in my opinion, I always found that the Note 5 was probably the worst handled Samsung phone ever because they shrank the battery size, they enclosed the battery. They did a lot of really weird things with it, which I still don't understand why they did. But on top of that, they didn't even extend the software lifecycle of the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. So in my opinion, the Note 5 is already kind of in a weird place, but at the same time, the base model Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is also in a really weird place as well. They did a lot of weird things with the Note 10, like remove the expandable storage and put a 1080p display on it as well. So let's go ahead and look at them. Let's go ahead and compare them. Now, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 just came out. It's the one of the newest phones ever really right now, where the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 actually came out in August of 2015. So this phone is actually 4 years old. Now, this is what I'll tell you. Yes, the Note 5 does have that older design. It does have the home button on the front, kind of a lot of bezel on it too, but I don't think it feels super outdated in my opinion. I feel like the S Pen kind of feels a little bit more rocky and a little bit less premium compared to something like the Note 10's S Pen, so at least there was an improvement in that sense. But the Note 5 came out at a time where phones were still having a lot of bezel on them, so I totally understand where this phone is coming from. I'm not going to jab at it. The Note 10 though, you can see it's a completely different design. It still has that, same body shape, but overall screen is pretty much pushed to the edge of the phone, and then we have the hole punch display. So I'll definitely say the Note 10 does look a lot better than the Note 5. So that in and of itself, I can't even compare them because the Note 10's design is much better, even though some people do say that the center hole punch does not look that good. But I don't mind, I think it's okay. Now looking at the front, we do have a little bit of a difference between them. So we have a 5.7-inch Super AMOLED display, 1440p on the Samsung Galaxy Note 5, 518 pixels per inch. And what I'll tell you is the Note 5's panel was so good, even when I used it before, even now. The phone's panel is one of the strong suits of this phone. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10 has a 6.3-inch dynamic AMOLED display, but here's the thing, okay? It might be a bigger display overall, but there's only a 1080p panel on it with 401 pixels per inch. Now, you guys are going to say whatever. Me personally, I don't think you can tell a huge difference between a 1440p or a 1080p, depending on the viewing angles and all that, and when you're looking at it, whatever you're looking at it with. But what I will say is, if they could have afforded and put a 1440p panel on a 5.7-inch display in 2015, why couldn't they have done the same thing in 2019 with a 6.3-inch panel? It's a bigger panel. They should have at least put a 1440p panel on it. I don't know why they did the 1080p. That was so dumb. They should have at least put a 1440p panel on it. You have a bigger screen, so you're going to have less pixels per inch overall when you do shrink the resolution. So that's probably the biggest difference right there. Is the Note 10's panel horrible? No. Can you tell a huge difference? Probably not. But still, it's you're paying $1,000 for a phone. You should expect the best parts they have at the time. And I personally do feel like Samsung really didn't do too good of a job, in my opinion, in terms of that. But I guess that's my little rant for the time being. Now, the Note 10 does have IP68 dust and waterproof, so you can go up to 1.5 meters of water for 30 minutes. So that's a really cool thing. The Note 5 doesn't really have any ruggedness, proofness at all. So at least when you're paying for that, you do get some type of IPC certification. So on the back, you see we have a single camera on the Note 5 and a triple camera setup on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10. That's probably one of the best things about the Note 10. Is its camera sensors, and I'll talk about them in a second, but I might probably make a whole separate video talking about the cameras and all that and comparing them, so keep a like down on the channel so you don't miss that. A huge other thing on the outside of the phone is that the Note 5 does have a headphone jack where the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 does not. However, I will say I would probably pick the USB Type-C port that you have on the Note 10 versus the micro USB and headphone jack combo that you have on the Note 5. I feel like USB Type-C is way more versatile, so yes, you do have a headphone jack on the Note 5, but you do not have USB Type-C, so that is a pretty big thing right there as well. But the cool thing is with the Note 5 is that you do have a fingerprint sensor in the front of the display in the home button. But the other cool thing with the Note 10 that is way cooler is that the fingerprint sensor is built in right into the screen. So that is a huge thing for the Note 10. Mad respect for Samsung for doing that, starting off with the S10 and now continuing that with the Note 10 as well. And that kind of covers up everything on the outside. Let's go ahead and talk about the software really quickly. And like I said, this is where Samsung, in my opinion, really dropped the ball on the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. So it started off with Android 5.1.1 Lollipop. You can get Android Nougat on it, and you do have custom ROMs and all those different things too. But in my opinion, I feel like Samsung should have upgraded and increased the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 software lifecycle because of that Note 7 fiasco. This phone should have at least gotten Android Oreo, in my opinion. Even though it did get Android Nougat, I guess that's okay. But in my opinion, like I said, I think they should have upgraded it. But you guys already know the Note 10 has Android One UI. It's on Android Pie. It's going to be continuing getting software updates for a while. So overall, the Note 10s is much better. You do have custom ROMs and roots out for the Note 5, and I've actually heard that there's some really decent ROMs out for that thing. So mad respect for the developers for keeping those things running. The Note 10s, like I said, I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. But like I said, the Note 5s, I mean, on stock software, it's already out of the picture. It's so outdated. That's why I would recommend anybody getting a Samsung Galaxy Note 5 or even having one now or thinking about it. I would 100% recommend rooting and custom ROMing this phone. This is an example of a perfect time and phone and device that I would tell you to root and ROM because this thing is already outdated. So you're not going to really lose too much if you go and upgrade. Actually, you're only going to be gaining features. So the Note 10 is obviously going to outlast the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 in terms of software updates because the Note 5 is already outdated. So that kind of covers up software, everything on the outside. Let's go ahead and talk about the internals of both these phones. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is the better phone overall. Obviously, I should have said in the beginning, but the Note 5 is the best phone between these two. And it's obviously a much faster device too. You have an Exynos 7420 Octa chipset on the Note 5, an octa-core CPU, and Adreno, a Mali T7 60MP8 GPU, and all three variants of the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 has 4 gigs of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Snapdragon 855 chipset, an octa-core CPU, and Adreno 640 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM. So you have twice the amount of RAM on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10, which is awesome. And it's a humongous upgrade coming from the Note 5. And I'll be honest, when I had the Note 5, I didn't think it was extremely slow, but when you do compare it to something like a Samsung Galaxy Note 10, there's a humongous difference. And I love seeing that progression, going from an iPhone 6s to like an iPhone 8 or iPhone 10 or something. You don't really see crazy amounts of difference, I'll be honest. And that's coming from somebody who owns an iPhone 10 as a main phone. And I own every single iPhone as well. I'm just going to say that right there. So I don't have a bias towards Apple or a bias towards Samsung or whatever. I'm just saying with Samsung phones, I've seen huge progressions from one device to the other. So I love that so much. And you can definitely see the progression even in the last 4 years. I mean, look how crazy of progression we've seen with these phones. I love seeing that. So yes, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is a way faster device than the Samsung Galaxy Note 5, as it should be. So mad respect for Samsung. But the Note 5 isn't a horribly slow phone either. I feel like TouchWiz, which was on Samsung Galaxy Note 5, even on its last version, really slowed it down. One UI I think has helped out a little bit. But if you root and custom ROM your Samsung Galaxy Note 5, I think you'll be in a better spot. And I'm actually thinking about doing a video on like a rooted and custom ROM Note 5 versus a stock Note 10 and doing like speed comparisons. And maybe if I can find a custom kernel for the Note 5 and flashing it, maybe we can see it, if there's a comparable speed difference or if the Note 5 is faster randomly. But I'll talk about that like in a later video eventually. But now looking at the cameras, I'll hit on these for like 10 seconds. The Samsung Galaxy Note 5 had a 16 megapixel sensor. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10 has 3 cameras on the back. You have 2 12 megapixel sensors and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Both cameras on all phones can shoot 4K, but the Note 10 can do 4K at up to 60 frames per second. So without a doubt, I will definitely tell you the Note 10's camera is so much better. But surprisingly, I always found that the Samsung cameras have been really good, especially on the Samsung Galaxy Note lines. And I feel like the Note 5's camera is still pretty decent. I'm not going to lie. It is only a single camera. And although it doesn't have as many software tweaks and improvements as the Note 10's camera, I think Samsung did a really decent job on the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. So I'll definitely give the edge to the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 without a doubt. Now, ending it off with the battery life. This, without a doubt, was the craziest thing Samsung ever did for the Note 5. They went from a removable battery on the Note 4 to a non-removable battery on the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. And I don't know why they did this. It's a 3000 mAh battery. In the long run, you might not think it's that bad, but when you had that big and bright of a screen, the high resolution as it was, and as much power as it had, even at the time it was released, people weren't raving about the battery life. But now, 4 years later, that battery has degraded. It's not at that full 3000. It's probably not even at 2500. It's probably like 2000 to be honest, depending on how much it was used and all that. So I'll probably tell you that battery life is not even half as comparable as a Samsung Galaxy Note 10's. You have a lower resolution display, which, is not always a good thing, but in battery life, it kind of is. You have wireless charging on both the devices, but you do have reverse wireless charging on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10, which is an awesomely awesome thing. I love that so much. Like I said, 3,500 milliamp hours, you are having at least a 500 milliamp hour increase coming from a Note 5. And that's if your phone is brand new. Most likely the Note 5's battery is not brand new anymore unless you like replace it or something. So without a doubt, I will definitely say between both of them, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10's battery life is probably the better one in my opinion. And that kind of covers up everything, you know, like I said, I mean, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is a good phone, don't get me wrong. I think it's very, very good. But right now you can get a Samsung Galaxy Note 5 for like $100 something probably in the used market. But the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is selling for still like $1,000. It's a brand new device. And there is a huge upgrade coming, okay? The Samsung Galaxy Note 5 to the Note 10 is a humongous upgrade. But I also think going from a Samsung Galaxy Note 5 to a Samsung Galaxy Note 8 is also a pretty big upgrade as well. You know, I mean, that's a huge upgrade. You know, you're getting an extra camera sensor, you're getting a removable storage and, you know, micro SD card slot and better screen and all that. So in a way, yes, the Note 10 is the much better device, but the Note 8 and Note 9, those are also huge improvements as well. I just don't think the Note 10 is technically worth the $1,000 price tag that it's going for. I think it should have been sold for like $700 or even $800, but that like $950 and $1,000, I just think that's way too much for this specific phone. But like I said, the Note 9 and Note 8, those are also very solid options. So I'll just put the ball in your court, guys. The choice is yours. With the Samsung Galaxy Note 5, I have a lot of respect for it. I just don't think it's that good of a deal right now. Unless you root it in custom ROM, then it's a little bit of a different story. But that is pretty much it, guys. If you have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that would mean so much. But definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.